Hey guys, I am jumping on here with one of my closest friends, Mr. Dan Holloway, because currently he is doing something incredible that we need to bring awareness to inside the Rebellious Business Network. So Dan, thanks for jumping on with me. Much appreciated. Just before I ask you to come and introduce yourself, just to give you all a bit of context, Dan is one of my oldest business friends. We've known each other for about 5 years now. And this year, in true Dan fashion, he's like, I'm going traveling. And he gets on a plane and he goes to Buenos Aires. And I checked in with you the day before you were going to Rio to see, it was the day before you were going to Rio, right?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. And I was talking to Dan about what was going on in the news and in the world in general. And Dan was telling me about this incredible thing that he has put together, because a few years ago, Dan was in Ukraine and made some friends, got to know quite a lot of people, and finds himself traveling whilst all of this craziness is going on. So, Dan, do you want to just let everybody know what it is that you're doing and why? Why are you doing it? And how have you put this together?
Yes, definitely. First of all, thank you for having me. Really, every time I come on RBN and obviously chat with you, like you say, we're good mates and we just have a little chin wag, and hopefully, more often than not, it's valuable for people. But yeah, really appreciate you setting up the time to have this chat, Brooks, first of all. Second of all, Ukraine is important to me because me and my mate and business partner, John, is actually sitting right there. He's working away on Love Ukraine at the moment. We have friends out there, as you say, and John's business is pretty much entirely run out of Kyiv and Kharkiv. So it's a 3D visualization company, helps architects with CG rendered images to show their interior fit outs and office space. And the team in Kyiv and Kharkiv, excellent designers. They've been working for John for like 4 or 5 years, and we travel a lot. We've been out there several times together, like you say, made loads of friends. And so when we're in Buenos Aires and then in Rio for the carnival and all of this kicks off, both of us, after 2 days of carnival, we were like, dude, we're not enjoying this. Like, it's not fun going out and having a good time while we know what's going on for our friends back in Ukraine. And so we decided that we needed to do something. Put our heads together, and it was actually his idea that we ended up running with, because we were on the beach in Copacabana on Sunday, the what would have been like the 27th or whenever it was, like 2-3 days after everything kicked off. And he said, why don't we build a wristband company that will raise money as a not-for-profit to get funds directly out to our friends in Ukraine that need the help. And that might be a better way of doing it than just having like a whip round for donations, like you might normally do, because it's something actually tangible that people can get behind and so on and so forth. So we ended up launching this company on the Sunday, and then 48 hours later, by Tuesday, went live. And then within 5 days, so the uptake was incredible. Within 5 days, went past $40,000 raised, and had WooCommerce, which is the largest e-commerce payment gateway on the planet, reaching out to us, featuring us as a case study, talking about how we managed to get this off the ground so quickly. And hopefully they're going to be putting this out quite soon across their network and their customers and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's been a crazy whirlwind. And we're getting the funds directly to our friends on the front line, which I'm sure I'll talk a bit more about in a second. But yeah, nuts.
This is exactly why I had to bring you into the network to talk about this, because like, it is just insane that you have had this plan to go traveling, and you go traveling, and then whilst you're out there, I mean, we all know what it's like to be out and about with a laptop, but let alone you're out and about in another country, but all your plans you're putting aside to put together a brand new charity, something that you've never done before, for something that is really close to your heart, but also incredibly pressing. And within a couple of days, you've raised 40,000. Now, the incredible thing about this is not only like, what you've achieved, but it's actually also to do with how you've done it. Because one thing that really struck me, and you said that we were going to go into this, looks like we are. One thing that really struck me is that you said that on the mainstream news, because I mean, you're talking to people that are there in Ukraine on a daily basis, right? Your friends are there, you're talking to a logistics company, you're hearing from, first accounts of what it's really like there. The work that you're doing is to support the people on the front line, because the big charities can't get into the front line to bring the support to them.
Yeah.
So I mean, that really struck me, because we see all of this stuff about refugees, and whilst it's so important that, you know, that is also an area where we can support and an area that needs attention, that never struck me really that nothing was able to get to the people on the front line very easily, because these big charities can't get in and they can't do that. So talk a little bit about how the logistics company that you're working with, through selling just a wristband. And this is the simplicity and the beauty of it. By just buying a wristband, you will be getting money and support and like supplies to people that are on the front line. Talk to me about how you're doing that, because if the big charities are struggling with that, how is a little logistics company able to do that?
Yeah, great question. So what we're basically doing, and I'll sort of show you here as I'm talking through it. The company that John's company has been partnered with in Ukraine is run by Tim. So Tim has a 600-person company across Lviv, Kyiv, and Kharkiv. Those 3 cities is where he runs his offices out of. And he gave us a tour the other day of what he's done with his offices and how he's converted them. And I won't play this video now, but for anyone who wants to have a look, it's just loveukraine.org, and then just click the where the funds go page. And I've
popped the link to that in the description of this video, by the way, guys. I see we've got a few people watching, so if you want to click through, it's just in the description. Sorry.
Nice one. Thank you, Gordon. No, all good. So yeah, what they've basically done is they converted their 3D visualization company from a company that, you know, renders images into a company that is now holding huge stocks of medical supplies and food and sleeping bag and boots and, you know, military equipment and all these things that the people on the front line need. And what they've done is created a network of drivers that are running supplies in from Poland, from France, from other EU countries, either just driving in like their own cars at night, or driving in buses. So he's got hold of some buses that can run supplies in, but that's quite dangerous because, you know, they're more conspicuous than cars, and even trains as well. So they're using public transport to get the supplies in. And then once it's in their offices, they're using a distribution schedule to figure out what supplies are needed on the front line, like the people that are fighting, defending Kiev. You know, where does the medical equipment, the medikits, the tourniquets, the medicines that stop the clot blood and so on and so forth, where do these need to go to have the most impact? And one of the things that Tim was explaining to us is that the situation changes, not even day by day, it's often hour by hour. You know, like a fight will break out somewhere and they need to then shift where the supplies go to save lives and you know, get them to where they're needed most. So it's crazy how responsive they need to be effective. And this then ties into why the big charities are not able to support in the way that they're needed. And it's 2 reasons. Number one, it's too dangerous for Red Cross and UNICEF and these kind of guys to get their teams into the battle zone. They can't do it. And it's people like Tim and his team and his network that are going into these danger zones to help their friends, like people that they actually know, you know, who are fighting to defend their country. These are the guys that are getting those supplies where they're needed. Charities can't do it. And then number 2, the big charities, obviously they're larger organizations. They can't be as flexible and responsive to literally just shift and pivot and then get a new stock in overnight from Poland because that's what's needed because the fight is happening here now. And so, yeah, these 2 things combined mean that for people who really want to make an impact and save lives, which for me is the most important thing, is saving the lives of our friends, it's got to be done in this kind of way. And for that reason, we're not a registered charity. We're running as a not-for-profit. I'm running it through my existing companies. It's been a bit of an accounting nightmare for my accountants. They've been like, what are you doing? But we figured out a way to structure it just as a not-for-profit and not get hammered by tax and VAT. Like we're not charging VAT on the wristbands that we're giving away because we're not actually selling them. We're giving them in exchange for donation. But yeah, that's essentially what we're doing and why it's important and how it's working.
It's amazing. So how long did it take you to put all of this together? Just like 2 days?
Yeah, 48 hours. And this is a testament to the skills that we, like both of us as online business owners, and the communities that we've both built, like you with Rebellious Business, me with Scrap the 9 to 5 and other companies that we've been a part of in the past. Like I and John would not have been able to do this at all if it wasn't for having previous experience of building businesses in this way, knowing how to use platforms like WordPress and WooCommerce, get a store off the ground quickly, knowing how to run an e-commerce business and quickly get hold of stock and have a fulfillment company that can then send it out, all these kind of things. Yeah, the skill set has been probably the number one thing that has enabled us to do this and then create this kind of impact this quickly.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Well, guys, if you want to support Dan and of course support Ukraine and support the front line of Ukraine, that's the point here. This is a method in which you can support the guys that are on the front line and know that that is going to get to them, because that is what this operation is all about: getting supplies, medical supplies, but also food, clothes, just the bare necessities that these guys need in order to defend themselves. If you want to do that and you want to buy a wristband, go and click on that link and get a wristband. You can also donate without buying a wristband, so you don't have to get a wristband if you don't want to. You can just donate, and every penny counts. It's all going to the front line. I think is there what would you say the number one need is? Is it medical supplies at the moment?
Yeah, medical supplies is one of the big ones, and we actually had a meeting earlier this morning about what we should be putting on the website to help educate people about where their money is actually going and what kind of difference it's making. And three of the big things that keep coming up are medikits, tourniquets, so basically like stopping bleeding, and they need tourniquets to, if they get shot in an arm or leg or something like that, they've got to be able to stop the bleeding. And then also the medicines. So there's like a $50 pack of various different medicines that they can use, either for injuries on the front line, but also a lot of hospitals where people have other needs. Maybe there'll be like the asthma ward of the hospital or a maternity ward of the hospital and things like that, and where they're no longer able to get medical supplies that they need to give people in these hospitals to survive. It's Tim and his logistics company that's now these hospitals are relying on. So yeah, three big things. And what this essentially means, and these aren't exact figures, but we're shifting the focus of our website to tourniquets are about $20. So if you donate $20, they're gonna be able to buy a tourniquet, which hopefully should save a life if someone does get shot, which is happening many times every single day, to stop the bleeding. Number two, the medicine. So $50 donation is going to buy a pack of various medicines that they'll need to either help the survivors to survive and also people in the hospitals to survive, because about 70% of the stuff is going to hospitals. And then number three, $100 will get a large medikit, which can save multiple people. There's various different things in this kit that are essential for saving lives on the front line. And that's really it. $100 donation medikit is going to make a real difference. So we're going to start putting this all over the site so that people are crystal clear what their money's going.
Yeah, it's a really great idea. I think like one thing I was thinking whilst you were talking there is like about there's always silent heroes.
Yeah.
In situations like this, and I think your friend running this logistics company, he's not the Red Cross, he's not got the media on him, he's not being advertised, but he's very much one of the silent heroes of this situation. And I just think it's incredible that you're supporting him to be able to do his job even better. And it's not even his job, it's something that he's been thrown into doing that he didn't expect he would ever need to do. And you're making all the difference. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for letting me interview you into the network. I'll get this out to email so that we can spread the word. Guys, tag people in this that you think would need to hear this. And if you're watching this outside of the group, feel free to share it, because I'm going to put it everywhere there as well. Let's spread the word. Let's get the word out, and let's share this to as many people as possible, because the more visibility we can get on this, the more impact we can make, and the more support we can get for the people on the front line through the help of Dan and the Love Ukraine campaign that he has put together. So proud of you, Dan.
And one thing as well, thank you, Colton. I really appreciate that. And just one thing to add off the back of that is Tim, so the guy on the front line running this, yes, he's an absolute hero. He's donated 50 grand of his own money through Archivisor, which is his company, and he's raised over 200 grand through his client networks, which is great, and it's kind of helped them get off the ground. And obviously we've done like 45k or so that we're getting off to them to help as well. But there is I'm going to call it a looming problem that is on the horizon, because we've noticed that our donations have really started to slow down now that we're 16 days into this conflict, and the sense we're getting is that maybe a lot of people are kind of they've done their bit, right? So to speak, they've donated and done their bit, but now the donations aren't coming in as much. The supplies that they have, they've only got not weeks, they've got like days, if that, 2 to 3 days of stock, and the money is starting to slow down. Where this initial wave is, it's been around for a while now, so there's less money coming in. And so what we need people to realize is that as long as this war is going on, this is an ongoing problem. This is something that, that if they're really going to survive this, they need continued help. It needs to be an ongoing basis. It needs to be donations that are just happening, maybe once a week, once a month, something like that. It's that consistency that's going to get them through this. There's no point surviving the first few weeks if they then just run out of supplies and then Ukraine ends up falling, in a month or a month and a half or something like that. It's that consistency. So yeah, as you say, if anyone is looking at this situation and feeling it's wrong and feeling that, there's got to be something done about it, well, this is your chance. It's saving the people who are actively defending not just Ukraine, but like the front line of Europe, of NATO, of like, the rest of the world, and preventing this getting any bigger than it is. So yeah, loveukraine.org. If you want to get a wristband, great. If you want to just donate, great. And Cordelia, I really appreciate you holding this space to talk about this and help spread awareness. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Guys, go and check it out. And Dan, thank you for your time. Much appreciated. I'll let you get back to your busy Love Ukraine building. And for the rest of you, I'll see you very soon.